Hey folks, welcome back to Only Best Fantasy Novels. My name is Robin, and today I want to talk about The Book That Held Our Heart by Mark Lawrence, the final book in the Library trilogy. And for me, it's his most inventive series to date. It's a great ending to what's been a great series, and unlike, very unlike anything else he's written to date. This one really seemed. I've been reading Mark Lawrence since he first wrote Prince of Thorns, but this trilogy cements him as an author that I'll always have to try his stuff because this is just so different from everything he's written to date. Anyway, what is this book about? So it picks up directly after the end of the book that broke the world. And once again, we find our group of characters that we've been following split up and thrown into different realities. But these worlds are the darkest that they have been in to date. And for them to achieve their objective in this particular book, which is to locate Levera's book and get it to the center of the library, it might prove to be a larger task than they're capable of handling. So when I talked about the book that broke the world, I talked a lot about the way that it kind of deals with information and so many different things that made me think about information. And this book honestly is very timely because this one of the big things that runs through it is the way that information kind of intersects with political and social issues, and the way that information can influence those views. So the way that it can basically lift us out of ignorance, or the way that it can be used to reinforce negative beliefs, that kind of thing. All based on your choice, obviously. You can choose what information you want to believe or don't want to believe. And that's kind of something that's played with over the course of this book. It also kind of touches on the way that information can be used to control narratives and perpetuate travesties. The way it can be, it can turn normal people into just these strange entities that almost forget the fact that they're human, and just the way that people can become driven by their own fear and gullibility, all based off of information and the power of information. It's like some dark subject matter that's that really perfectly fits the stories that kind of play out over the course of this book, because the worlds that that these groups get thrown into are very authoritarian. So these are very timely and relevant themes and concepts to be playing with. So all of that, it was really well handled, because Mark Lawrence handles it in the way that I like to see stuff like this handle it. He is not an author pushing a particular agenda. He just gives you this food for thought, and I was like, here's this big steaming pile of best. What do you think of it? So that alone just had my gears going clean through this book for a lot of it. As for the characters and writing, what can I say about it that I really haven't said in my other video where it comes to Mark Lawrence? He continues the stories of this just complex, varied cast that they all have their unique motivations and idiosyncrasies, and they're not even all human, and that comes across that factors in interesting ways. But most importantly, given the setting and the way that information, the role that information plays in this story, we do have characters who are willing to stop and challenge it and reconsider their beliefs when they're challenged. In some cases, and not always. It's just one of those other things that just kind of reinforces the whole concept at the heart of these books. At the end of the day, all that being said, at the end of the day, one of the major story arcs throughout this series has been a love story. So if you're someone who doesn't want any romance in their books, well, I highly doubt you're watching this video, the video of a third book in a trilogy, where the previous two books have very much incorporated quite a bit of romance. So yeah, it's just deftly handled. He handles it all well. He handles it in his trademark style, so very accessible prose, and the writing is tight, efficient, and gets the job done. He doesn't waste a lot of time on fluff. He doesn't waste a lot. Like every word counts or something, and it all just flows really smooth. Like this book came out on Tuesday, and by Wednesday night I was done. So it was, and it's not a short book by any means, but it just flowed so well. I would sit down, I would read in 2 days. Yeah. And another thing, like I think I've mentioned more than once at this point, is just how inventive this series has been to date, and this might actually be his most inventive of the lot, because he does he does have these different worlds that we see, these different realities, where the group of characters that we follow get split up into, and these worlds, they are very similar, but they have very notable differences among them, and as a result of that, like we get just enough to understand what we're facing, and then a lot of the time in these worlds is spent just driving up the fear and the tension and giving us the little tidbits that allow us to realize just how terrible these places are, and how much more terrible they are going to become, because one of them is very much based off of real world history, and based on the trajectory of that, you can already tell what direction things are headed in. And then you have the other worlds that are pretty much this same scenario with a quarter turning towards the fantasy, as GGK fans would put it. So there's all of that going on. It's quite a bit of creativity, and mixed into all of that, once again, like I said, he has this whole concept of information and the role it plays in these kind of scenarios, so just kind of flowing through everything. Like it's just really well done. And then we have the ending. So honestly, given this whole series, if you'd asked me before I read this book, I would have said I had no idea how he could end this trilogy. Now that I've read it, I think he ended it in the best possible way. At the heart of it, this story is very much a love story, and that comes across in the way the ending is executed on multiple levels. As to the book that gives this book its title, it's just all wonderfully done. Like it's a very satisfying ending. I do think it's an ending that's going to be strange for readers who came to Mark Lawrence given his more typically generic fare. I think it's an ending that's going to be very iffy for a lot of people, but I went into this after the first book. I very much started treating this trilogy very much as an offbeat fantasy trilogy, and so the ending is, I was pretty much open to accept anything, and I think the ending that he gives us is a very fitting one. I don't think it could have ended better than the way it ends. So overall, in terms of the entertainment factor and that, like it was just good. It was just good. A really fast paced, a really action packed, a really thought provoking read, and a great way to end what's been a great trilogy. Now at this point, I have to wonder what's on the horizon for him. Like, he usually does a sequel series set within the same world, so I'm expecting that the next trilogy that he's gonna write, that he is probably in the middle of writing right now, is going to be a sequel trilogy based off of this one, if we're following his usual pattern. And I'm excited to see what else we have in store here. So yeah, I think that's really all I have to say about this book. It's a great finale. It's a great finale. I enjoyed it tremendously, and yeah. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.